Hello students, this is the poem The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost. Actually, there are many options or alternatives in our life, but we have to choose only one option or choice, and many others we cannot choose. So here, the road represents the options or alternatives. Before going to read the poem, we must know about the poet of the poem, Robert Lee Frost, who was born in 1874 and died in 1963. He was an American poet. His work was initially published in England before it was published in the United States. Known for his realistic depictions of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech, Frost frequently wrote about settings from rural life in New England in the early 20th century, using them to examine complex social and philosophical themes. Now we are reading the poem with explanation. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. So now the poet is coming to a junction where two roads are diverged, or two roads are going to a different direction. Here, yellow wood refers to a period of autumn, a season of autumn, or the elder people. So, in our daily life or in our life, when we stop at a junction where two different roads are diverged or two different roads are going through different directions, there we stop. There we cannot choose both the road. So we have to choose only one road. And be one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the underworld. So being a traveler, when we come to a junction, we have to stand there. We have to think more and more to decide which one is better. And so here the poet is looking at the path for a long time, and he was watching the road for a long time as far as he could see. At the point to where it bent, the road bent on the undergrowth. Then took the other, just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. After a lot of thinking, the poet took the other road, as he thought that it was better. Why? Because that road was grassy. It was travelled by few. Though as far that the passing there had worn them really about the same. But after thinking the road, he understood both the roads were same. In the same way, after taking one alternative and after experiencing many events, we understand perhaps outcome of every alternative is the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves. No stave had trodden black. The poet said that both the paths were similar that morning. Both had leaves on them, and no one had stepped on them, as they were still green in color. Oh, I kept the fast for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. He decided that that day he would take one path and keep the other path for another day. Although he knew that one way leads to another way, he knew that he could not go back on the choice that he had made. In the same way, even in our life, once we choose an option, we must keep on moving ahead with that option, and we never get a chance to come back and take the other option that we had left. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Here the poet said that in future he would take a deep breath and say in grief, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. He would say that once upon a time he had reached such a point in life that there were two options for him, and he traveled on that road which had been traveled upon by lesser number of people, and that decision made him different. In the same way, when we grow up, we shall say that once upon a time when I was young, we had two options, and I took the one traveled by less people, and that has made difference. Okay, that's all for today's class. I shall meet you in the next video. Thank you.